All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. Dave Wilson of the Ring of Hire Show. Hey, by popular demand, I have Nicole of Shazami back. Nicole Clarke. How you doing, Nicole?
Fantastic. Thanks, David. How are you?
Uh, I told you it was a little warm today. I know where you are. She's in Sydney, Australia, everybody. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Shazami and some. If you have questions about websites, this is the person to ask. So we'll be right back after this. You know, I'm going to keep that picture on for another 10 years. Then I'll have those 10 pictures, right? Hey, good evening, everybody. Listen, I got a great guest tonight, Nicole Clarke, and she's the co-founder of Shazami and from Sydney, Australia tonight. So we're, I don't know what you want to call it, abroad. Is that how you say it?
That'll do.
That'll do. Nicole, if you want to introduce yourself and what you do, and we're going to go right into this.
Fantastic. Thanks, David. Nicole Clarke. Yep, I'm in Sydney today. I'm normally based out of Melbourne, Australia. Been 14 years in recruitment, website technology and staffing industry tech, and very passionate about marketing and helping recruitment agencies and HR teams be more successful at attracting great talent and also clients. And we recently launched Shazami about 15 months ago to pure website technology to make people more successful online.
Well, that's the part I love and why I had you back here, because I told you the number one that makes you difference is cloud-based, and that's where I really want to hit first. If you could talk about the cloud-based system.
Yeah. So what we've gone for with our latest technology is all low-code and no-code technology, and what that means very different to WordPress. No-code, low-code is the future of tech. Everything is easy to use, drag and drop. You can create without any technological sort of understanding. So our clients can actually create, make great looking websites, add pages, change things very simply and easily just by dragging the widgets. So they code once and then constantly being updated. So it's evolutionary and it's not stagnant and highly secure, but future of technology, cloud-based, nothing on servers anymore. It's all in the cloud and easily accessible from anywhere across the globe.
Well, do you get, when I hear that, I get excited with something new. You know that. I mean, I wish a lot of the colleagues and a lot of people on LinkedIn I see too is like, try something different. And I foresee, and I told you before when I had started the business, I wish I would have had you then, just like I told some other colleagues, because the time that I spent, I can't even tell the money that I spent, the cost. And then I look at the end and how you can put it all together here. My point there, when you say cloud-based, take it back again versus how it is now. So I'm just trying to figure out the cloud base for a website. I guess that's what I'm asking.
So it's no different to if you use like Google Mail, Gmail. No longer is everything hardwired and sitting on your computer or on a server. It's literally in the cloud. So it's accessible anywhere remotely and you can log in from any device across the world. So most, large platforms, your Salesforce and all the other platforms that are out there really are now all cloud-based. So you're no longer having to have something hardwired sitting in your office or in your home. You can access it in the cloud, so out in the ether.
Well, that's why I tell people when they say for security all the time, Nicole, they're always saying, oh, it's not secure. I'm like, you know what? Just send it to the cloud then. Because does anybody know what the cloud is? Send it to the cloud. You trust it that much. Oh, well, we already have Christopher on here, so he has a couple things for you. Secure, similar to Laravel?
Not sure, Christopher. Sorry.
All right, he's got, let's see, he's got Web3 integration.
Yeah, so any cloud-based if we're talking about cloud here, any cloud-based operation is similar, or run remotely out of in the cloud, not needing a hard-coded server.
All right, and then he has one more here that he put software as a service.
Yeah, so software as a service, another thing that we're hearing a lot more about. SaaS is how it's shortened down, and what it means is you're rather than paying outright for a technology platform, whatever that might be for, you annotize the cost over a long period of time, which is that software as a service monthly payment type setup. So you're not having to pay a lot of money to get something built. You're paying a monthly amount. It normally covers things like customer service, customer success, upgrades to your technology. So it's never getting old. It's definitely the future. It's funny, we saw a big wave of people wanting to own their website or own their technology platform, whatever it was. But by owning it, it just starts getting old the day you buy it, because no one's making those pivotal updates and changes and security things to that platform. Right. So by going software as a service, cloud-based, means you can make updates very quickly, and it goes out to every client across the globe. So really important.
So do you still have the URL separate for each one, or each part you want for the website? Is everything the same there?
Yeah, so for us, from a staffing or recruitment website perspective, everything is on the one URL. It's so important that your job board, your job application page, your job detail page should all reside on the client's brand, so your URL, and not skip out to your applicant tracking system or your CRM's URL. It should all stay on your brand. Important for SEO, important for candidate experience. And same with corporate career sites. Ideally, you also want that not to head off on another tangent into someone else's platform. It needs to stay on your brand. So yeah, really important.
That's what I figured too, because I know a lot of the times you can still put like the company's website for an application to apply, for an employee to apply. Would that be a different URL, or is that still all the same? Like,
no, it shouldn't be. A lot of times you do find with the CRMs or the ATSs, they often drive the job board experience and the apply page experience and the job detail page experience. It's not the best way to do it, because you're leaving the brand to go there, or it's iframed in, meaning it's like a window, and you lose a lot of opportunities where you're not getting SEO from those job ads. The candidate's going out to an unfamiliar URL. So what we fix is we receive the feed of jobs from that back-end database platform. We populate them on the client's branded job board. Then the client has their own job detail page and their own apply page, and that data then passes into that applicant tracking system.
All right, I'm going to remember just what you said. I'm still going to be thinking that I'm still listening to you. I'm like, because I'm trying to learn. I'm like, all right, I got part of that. When you have a customer, client come to you, what if you had to say, what's something like, what do they say they want out of their website? The main thing, like when I always thought about, I want to drive that traffic. Everybody drive that traffic. Yeah. Do you agree with that totally, or is that what they're looking for?
Look, it's a good question. I think, and I think that this industry, everyone's extremely, especially at the moment, extremely busy doing what they do. And no one can possibly be an expert in all of this. That's why our philosophy is always use experts to do what experts do. Like if I want to hire a doctor, I'm not going to go to an administration recruiter to hire that doctor. I'm going to go to an expert who specializes in that. Same thing with technology. So yes, it's about traffic. However, it's about quality traffic. Yeah, no point getting 5,000 people to your website, but none of them are relevant. What we want to do is create a site architecture and a digital presence that is making sure that when the right people are looking for opportunities, whether that's an employer looking for a staffing firm or whether that's a job seeker looking for a particular job, we want to make sure that they find our clients' brands and have a great experience from the minute that brand's touched. 30% of the searches that go on Google are actually job related. So it's really important that people start sort of investing in being found, not just having that brochure website that's a billboard in the desert.
And that's what I mean. And that's you know, all these videos, I'm tired of saying, well, that's where I made a mistake. I think you know, the same thing is everybody thinks, oh, just like views, just like this, views. But if you got two people that really wanted to utilize the service, you win. You know, it's the value that you can show. I did want to ask you on the widgets. You know, I know you the widgets for everything, recruitment. A lot of people, I like the widgets. Because I like it as like if I'm after hours and I'm on something, all I got to do is I know I just click on it because the next day I know they're going to reach out to me.
Yeah, so our widgets are a bit different. We've got job board widgets, so you can drag a widget onto the page and create as many job boards as you want. You can have form field widgets, countdown widgets. So ours is very different, where you just drag and drop elements into your website and you can build it out easily.
Into each block or?
Yeah. So it's, if anyone that's listening has ever used Canva, which is a marketing platform, what we've created is Canva for staffing websites and careers sites, where if you want to put a job board for jobs in Chicago for electricians, you just drag the widget onto the page, say show jobs in Chicago for electricians. You drag and drop a video onto the page, drag a job search widget onto a page, and you can create beautiful landing pages built for purpose. And then you can send that link through to people on LinkedIn or pay-per-click advertising. There's so many ways now to get your brand in front of the right people and drive that relevant traffic to your brand.
That makes, again, the widgets, everybody, there's always difference. I hear pros and cons. And I'm always like, well, don't go on it then. Don't utilize it. I like it personally because it gets me. I'll put that question like I did, and you'll get the answer. I mean, they're pretty good with that. I noticed on design features, on the go editing, and personalization and content connection. I just wanted to hit those areas a little bit.
Yeah, so personalization really goes back to the bare basics. If you're recruiting for people in construction, you need to talk about construction jobs, and you need to talk about construction recruitment and have a landing page for each of those. You need your last point about, you know, connecting the data. When you create those pages, you should also be doing blogs and videos and things like that, and you should be linking them all through. So the whole idea with your brand online is that everything is being connected and driving that traffic into an ecosystem where it's going to convert, because you're going to be attracting the right people. Personalization, that's at its basic form. And then you can also start personalizing by, if someone comes to your website for the first time, show them a pop-up that welcomes them and ask them to sign up for job alerts. If they come back for the third time, welcome them back. If they've come from LinkedIn, show them a different message. So you can, really personalize the experience for the user.
You can mix it. Matt's going to be on my show tomorrow night. He's into Ashton Carter staffing, and he does a lot of IT, accounting. He's going to be on tomorrow, but he says I use Canva for mainly personal stuff.
Yeah,
I don't even use it.
You should check it out. It's really good. It's just literally what we're talking about, drag and drop editor for marketing. So if you want to create beautiful posts, you can go to Canva and you can create them just like with Shazami. You can create as well. It's very similar, but for the website and job boards.
Before I get into other questions, I wanted to take you, how do they get started? How does a potential client right now listening to this, or somebody seeing interest in it, what's the process?
Yeah, really easy now. It's not like the older days, and people unfortunately are still going down this route. But when you sign up to be part of Shazami, there's no lock-in contract. We believe our service and our product should speak for itself. Somebody signs off. We're running at about 3 weeks to turn around a careers site or a staffing website. Depending on where the person is in their journey. Startups, they come to us all the time because it's very cost effective. It's very well integrated into their other platforms, $99 a month. And we will say to them, have you seen something you like the look of? And if they have, we can replicate the layout in essence of that. It might be NASA's website they like the layout of, and then they can give us the images and their brand guidelines and content. And then we go all the way through to an enterprise, might have 15 websites across the globe in multiple languages. So we really work with the clients to understand. Some clients just want better technology that's not so hard to use anymore, like WordPress,
Right.
where you have code. And so we'll bring a brand over exactly as it is onto our tech. And then you can go and you've got something really easy and seamless to use with great support.
WordPress is to me, every time it was just changing everything, and I couldn't figure it all out. I mean, there was some people that said they know it, and I don't think so, because I mean, I tried so many different things. I wanted to ask you though, how important is a blog?
A blog is very important. However, there's a lot of people that are blogging because they think it's going to help their SEO, which it will. But if they don't have the fundamental foundation in place with the right website architecture, the right things on their website, they should focus on that before they start blogging, because you need that. The whole idea about blogging ideally should be to drive traffic back to your website. So if your website's not set up to convert the traffic that comes there from the blog, you're missing massive opportunities. Once you've done that, your job ads, making sure that your jobs are actually optimized for search engine optimization, is like writing a new blog every time you put a new job ad up, or it should be. A lot of situations it isn't. Yeah.
Now, do you review that for the client, or is that something that, like, I mean, do they ask questions? Do they say, does it like a review? I should say review.
Yeah. So we've actually got a scorecard on our website. If you go to Shazami, www.shazami.com, there is a scorecard you can do that. There's a top banner on our website that takes you through all the necessary requirements of a staffing, recruitment, careers site, and sort of highlights any issues you might currently have. But I love sitting down with a client and running through their digital brand today and the opportunities and things that they're missing, regardless of if they end up using Shazami or not. It's about education, because I hate seeing people waste money and time, and there is a real recipe to it. But there's some fundamental things you need to have in place. And yeah, we're more than happy to take clients through and educate on that journey.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Now that I have 36 pages of trees, I always tell people I waste a lot of trees on this, with the notes. But I like how you said the infrastructure of a website, because you talked about, like the reliable hosting. I learned since I stopped paying that for my website, that goes away. That's like red flag. But can you talk about the reliable hosting and the free SSL? That's a certificate, and I'm trying to still remember what that one was about.
Yeah, so SSL, really important. If you've ever been to a website before, and up next to the URL where you type in your www, if there's not a lock there, it'll show not secure. And SSL certificate is a security certificate. Very important to have that on your website. And even your job board, I see a lot of prospects that I'm talking to, their job board isn't secure, which means as a user, you probably don't want to put your confidential information in there because it can be taken. But also Google penalizes companies that don't have a secure website. So SSL certification is really important. You should be able to get that where you purchased your domain name from. They should be able to apply the SSL certificate, or we provide that as part of our package.
Well, mine, if you go to the Ring of Fire, you go to results, it comes up with a little triangle. It's not secure. It says it's not secure. So, I mean, I guess that's the end of it on that part there. Matt says you took the best notes. I swear I must, the notes that I like it, because I always just type things up and then cut and paste for the questions. And you talked about also on there, I like this, and I learned about customizable cookie notification, and then from response pages and the GDPR. I'm trying to figure out what the GDPR first is.
Yeah, so look, as we're aware, across the globe, people are tightening down on taking people's data. So there's lots of different names for it across the globe, but what we
I
need to
see.
make
Yeah.
sure is that we're compliant, that when we take people's information, if they're signing up for job alerts or different things, that there's different things that need to happen, that you expire their details after a period of time, that you get agreement from them to withhold their data. So yeah, there's lots of things with,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I didn't hit that last time, and I was like GDPR, and I get it now. Where you said it's already in a platform, includes a privacy, the cookie notification, customized cookie notification. It says activate this notification to notify users when website collects data. I see that all the time.
Yeah.
Is that I still, well, I click on it, I exit out, or I say yes. I mean, is that important?
Look, it's just you acknowledging that you're okay for people to track you, really. And yeah, they're a bit annoying, but in today's age, a bit of a necessary evil.
It's everywhere. Every single thing I click on, it's constantly. You talked here about, there was a couple things. I'll just two at a time. How's that? Google page speed optimization and dynamic serving.
Yeah. So all about speed of your website. So, being able to make sure that your site is optimized to be served up in a timely manner, because that also does affect your search engine optimization. So whether the search engines want to provide your business as an opportunity for people to click through to, all of those things, speed of website is really important.
That's all right. Because then also two more on this part was the site backups. I always hear about that. The backup is just all your information on your website. It's common sense, right? That's all that is it?
Yeah, it is. And what we've found is be taking regular backups of people's websites, because they're constantly making changes, is really
Right.
important. So they can find back at any time if they want to. So we keep a full
Right.
history, so you can never lose your data.
Oh, so you can just go right back and say if this worked, that didn't work. All right, that makes sense.
Correct. Yeah.
Load times are significant. That's the same thing with the speed. I wanted to hit a lot of the questions that everybody always talks about is the SEO. I mean, that's all everybody wants to know is optimization, SEO. Do you handle that as a service also, or is that just something that you're putting on your own website, or do you provide service?
Good question. So when we build a staffing website or a careers site, we build it with the foundational SEO in place. So that
Okay.
is that the job board is optimized for SEO. The jobs themselves are optimized for SEO. Different things, there's that the commercial job boards like your Monsters and things use called job schemas that make sure that your jobs are recognized by Google and the search engines. Pushing your jobs to Google as well is really important, and to the aggregator or free job boards. So foundational SEOs goes back to what we spoke about before, the site architecture, making sure that if you're recruiting for aeronautical engineers, that you've got a page on your website that talks about aeronautical engineering jobs,
Right.
because that's going to help with your SEO. And once again, where you mentioned blogs, everything should be connected and going back to relevant pages, which will in effect help your SEO. So that's foundational. And then from there, we've got a great tool where you can spy on your competitors, see what they're doing, and then start bringing those keywords into your brand. And we can do SEO services above that also for clients.
That's what I noticed on the website. And then, like you said, it says Google Ads, Maps, SERP, features monitoring, competitive intelligence. That what basically you were talking about?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, I didn't write down what SERP. I'm like, all right, I missed that one. I missed that one there. Web in-depth recruitment SEO website audit. That you can, is it just like, when you do it says here like a checkup. Is it something that you run?
Yeah, so that can be done using the scorecard app on the website, which there's a banner up the top that you can click on. We also are happy to do that with a client face to face. And because we've seen so many, over the years, thousands of recruitment websites, we can really help analyze the breakdown and the opportunities. And also not only the website, the integration. So automation, being able to capture the right data so you can work out where am I spending my money and what's actually returning me good value, so that you can put more money into that, not waste any money.
And that's where I come to when you say the measurable progress, like all your analytics, are you able to see all that also?
Yeah, so depending on what ATS the client is using, we will often push a lot of that data and analytics back into the applicant tracking system or database so that they
Okay.
can see that from there. But from our platform, we have a multitude of data and analytics. So a couple of our larger clients.
Oh, she'll come back. It's coming. The great thing about being live, how here she comes, here she comes, there she is. She's back. She's in Sydney, Australia, so she's a little far. Let's give it a second here. She's froze right now, so I just put her on freeze. It's a great thing about technology. You're talking in the middle of a show and it freezes. There's nothing you can do. Hopefully she'll be back here in a minute. But what she's talking about is like Shazami. If I would have had a company like this in the beginning of a startup, the cost versus all the time, wow, you can't even imagine what it's like, because you save so much revenue by leaving it to the experts. And you got to check it out at Shazami. Just Google it, Shazami. And let me tell you, you're going to see a lot of great things on there for the website. I can't tell you how much is on there. Everything about SEOs. They have so much educational. She'll be right back. There's so much information on there that I like about her is how to start a recruitment agency. They give you all the tools that you could utilize how to start up. Recruitment strategies that you're talking about here. They have ebooks on the site. I know she's going to sign back in here. There's ebooks on there for SEO, for recruiting strategies. You got to check it out. And that's under the information page. And like I said, also, they have a lot of a Shazami Academy. There she is right now. Hey, we're still going. I was just still talking about the show.
Fantastic. So sorry about that.
That's okay. I was telling them about why you were on a little break there. How they can go on there. You provide a lot of information, because I mean, I was like, how to start a recruitment agency, recruitment strategies. It was just, they were top notch. I mean, I was reading through them, and I wouldn't say that, but they were right on the money. The ebooks, the ebooks are for, you have different subjects.
Yeah, so we do have 3 ebooks that I would recommend anyone who's listening at the moment that's interested in, being more successful at finding talent and attracting clients, if that's relevant to them, downloads the ebooks. It's a wealth of knowledge that's been learnt over a very long time. Everything from SEO to creating a great website is all documented in there, so people can learn and, be more successful.
Be more. And then also how you were saying with the ATSs that we talked about before, how Bullhorn, Salesforce, all the Job Diva, everything that you're able to integrate with them.
Yeah, integrations are so important now that the more streamlined you can make things, the better. I mean, you look at some of the technology now, we're often talking about the candidate experience, but now it's also about, if you're in staffing or recruiting, what's the client experience like when a client comes to your brand? So more modern technology now is about, allowing your clients to log in, view their job orders, view the shortlisted candidates against those job orders, and then make comments, which then pass into the applicant tracking system, and then also be able to move the candidate from, starting blocks into an accepted status within those platforms. So there's lots of things now that you should be thinking about.
Do you feel some of them that they once they get all excited, get your website from running, then you don't do anything with it?
Look, there's always going to be clients like that they're obviously too busy, and that's fine. We do have a lot of clients that have built websites and then, really not done anything with it since then. But the good thing is, if it's set up correctly in the first place, it doesn't matter, because it'll still keep ticking along really well.
Well,
And
that's what when you
if
said about the cloud base, that's what you're talking about there, right?
Yeah, look, the website's just up, it's running, it looks great. It's if it's been set up correctly in the first place,
Yeah,
it's still getting great SEO.
you're right. Because the way I look at it is, I mean, when I go on websites, staffing, I will say that candidates, I believe a candidate experience has to be high because a lot of candidates will say they can't figure out how to apply for the job. Everything's wrong about it. I mean, you'll know it when it can't when you're in staffing and somebody comes to you and you're calling them saying they just apply on the website. Well, if they're having
Yep.
issues, it doesn't work for them, and they'll let you know it.
Yeah, and the problem is it's the good candidates that are going to not continue with that journey. If they can't apply quickly, you've got 3 seconds basically. And that's why you need to make sure that people can find jobs and apply for jobs very quickly, ideally with one click.
Oh, that's awesome. Jessica says hi. Hey, Jess, this is Dave. Oh, and Nicole. So, how you doing, Jess? She was on the show a
Hi.
couple weeks ago. I
Hi,
wanted
Jess.
to ask you. I know you said about uh, analytics and providing. There was another one here. The measurable progress, custom settings, XML sitemap generator.
Yeah.
These questions are for
So
me. I'm looking at words. I'm like, all right, what is that besides Googling it?
no, looking at your sitemap, a sitemap is your website layout that is submitted to Google, or it should be submitted to Google. Every time you make a website change, that sitemap needs to be submitted to. So a good example is a lot of times we see clients in any area of recruitment, but it's just as relevant for every business. They build a new website or they change the name of different pages on their website. And what happens then is the search engines get confused and they don't realize that that's the same brand or the same page on the website. And often those URL links are floating out in the World Wide Web that you might have saved in your browser, or when you type it in, it comes up automatically. You need to make sure that your sitemap is submitted to Google so that they know the new page name is now this, or my new website pages used to be this, but now they're this. So there's no confusion.
So does that hurt? Does that hurt the person's website? Right? It hurts the client's website, right? By not doing that, is that something that they're told when they come aboard with you to make sure? Is that automatically done?
Yeah, definitely. We advise the clients in regards to that. And we also have an automatic sitemap submitter, which is really important. It does affect, if you don't do this, and we see it all the time when people are coming from other providers, their SEO has dropped off dramatically. That often has to do with the sitemap submission was never done correctly. Also, old job ads floating out they don't get retired. They just keep appearing out in the World Wide Web, can also affect that greatly too.
Jessica, she's loving this nerd talk on hanging with the lingo. Jess is a writer and she was on the show, and she's also she loves writing and that's what she does for a living. So she knows it all. She sits there and she was a blast on the show. She was a blast. Matt says nothing like having to upload a resume and enter a job history on a website.
Yeah.
Like upload a resume. You know, I know that's a different subject too, but you can have that option too, right? I mean, all that's available.
Yeah, and look, that's a really good one. Once again, we talk about you need to, especially in today's market where candidates are extremely hard to find, you need to make it as easy as possible for the right people to apply. So what we recently did is we removed the need for a registration or a password so people can apply. Ideally, then you email out to say, thanks, David, for submitting your resume, for your application. Could you please provide more information? You can do it that way, but you need to capture that information. And yes, upload of resume. We've got screening questions as well for those companies that need that. But if you don't need it, we'd say err on the side of caution and don't do that straight off the bat. Make it as easy as possible for people to apply with social.
That's awesome. And I feel, have I asked you like 10,000 questions already, right? I only got like four
No,
more.
that's fine.
No, four
I
more.
even hung up. I even hung up to take a breather, David.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. I could go on, but I figure, we'll have part 2 series because there's a lot I really want to get into. And 2 more subjects of it. I want to talk about the backlinks, and then also about all your social media ads and everything being integrated with the website. Backlinks, to me, I was told, I remember paying for on WordPress. I was charged, I don't know, it was a couple $100, and he promised me 100 backlinks.
Yeah.
In your words or in your knowledge, can you explain what a backlink is?
Yeah. So another one of the things that's extremely important for SEO, what it means, backlinks, you need to be on a lot of different directories. So your business needs to appear on multiple directories across the World Wide Web. Also in, associations you're part of should have backlinks that click on that other website drives people to your brand. So the more of those that you can get around the World Wide Web in places that are relevant to you, helps increase your SEO. But also, once again, you want to make sure that foundation of the website is correct, because where you're driving those links to is also really important, that when people use that link and they click on it, that they actually spend time on your site and look around, because that all helps your SEO. It's called domain trust. So the more links you get out in the World Wide Web, it helps your trust as far as the search engines are concerned. So that might be on partners' websites. It could be on, industry websites. It could be on yellow pages or different directories that your URL exists. Google My Business is very important. Yeah.
So the URL, when you say that with a backlink, it's just words added to the URL? Is that trying to understand?
No, so it's literally like your website link on any directory and it could be specific pages that you're driving traffic to, but it's a link on someone else's site, whether that's a directory or a affiliate, that drives traffic back to your brand.
Okay, so all right. I'm gonna read into that one more. I'm listening as you're saying. I'm like, okay, because that guy had me so confused, and I'm like, sure, I'll just pay a couple $100. Here you go. But I gave you all these backlinks. I didn't know. I didn't
That's
understand.
Actually, yeah, David, to go back to that, it's ideally you need to make sure that the person that's doing it is reputable. There's a lot of companies out there that get you to pay for backlinks, and they get you a heap of backlinks, but the minute you stop paying them, they all evaporate. So what you need to do is get those solid foundational backlinks, get yourself on every relevant directory that could result in that click coming back to your website. The most important one to start with is Google My Business. Make sure your Google My Business presence is properly set up. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free, and very rewarding.
And that makes total sense, because I go back to what you said is I paid a lot for those. I don't even know what I got. I don't even know. And then when I stopped paying, I still don't know what I got. I mean, I guess it comes down, like you see, you got to trust the company. And like you said it before, pay the expert. That you specialize in that. That's what you do, and you want to show them results, because I see too, you have 24/7, you have customer service round the clock that you provide. One more question. I promise you I'm over till part 2 series. Let me bring Matt. I know Matt, let me bring these up. The advertising intelligence. I like how you put that. You said, it says whether your ads are promoting your recruitment business, availability, creating leads, awareness, and also these platforms, Google search ads, Google displays ads, Google analytics. I mean, Gmail, Facebook. In general, that's just social media, or
so what that's part of one of our technology platforms, which is a marketing dashboard that gives our clients analytics and data around, and the tools to manage everything to do with the World Wide Web, and aggregates all the data into that platform. Advertising intelligence, what it does, a lot of people pay a lot of money, or they start dabbling in paid ads. So, Google display advertising, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn advertising. And ideally, you need to manage and understand what's converting for you and what's not, so you know where to spend the money. So the advertising intelligence piece that we have just enables the client to log into one dashboard and see the results of their paid advertising and how it's going.
Oh, so they're going to see that right off. They're going to see it.
they're going to be able to see it in one platform, along with, you know, how many people are coming to their website and all their analytics, and how many backlinks do they have in the World Wide Web, and a lot of other, you know, how are their social posts going, and they can auto post to all of those. So there's a lot of other tech behind.
That's what I figured. They can follow up with you and say, okay, look, why is this not happening? I understand what you're saying there now. It's like I said, there's so many things that I think it comes down to the main thing, like you said, is that foundation that makes it easy for you, for especially startups again, and anybody, and like even a smaller business or a mid-sized business would want to reach out. I mean, because a lot of them only come to people like, hey, how do you make a website? You go to Vistaprint, you know, you go to these little things like that, and it doesn't really. It's just kind of like a business card, I would say, to them. Some of the smaller businesses, you know. It's hard for them, but this is probably easy for them to put, like restaurants, right? I mean,
yeah, smaller staffing recruitment agencies, even anyone that needs to recruit, they need to make sure that they've got a platform that's going to make sure that they can convert that traffic and get the traffic. I think I've seen smaller companies do extremely well up against the larger companies because they've invested a little bit of time into understanding what is the ideal site architecture and building that so that they're being found, which is amazing.
And that's what you want, especially with staffing now, the way things are. Wow. You know, Nicole, I want to thank you again. I mean, this is the second time on the show, and I want to have one another couple of weeks and try to go over. I'm not going to toss any of these notes out. I'm going to keep them. I probably gave you about 50 questions, but, you know, I appreciate your time, and you know, that's why I like having you on, is because a lot of people don't know. They think it's easy. And like you said, I think it comes down to trust. Like when I tell everybody about videos, getting to learn about somebody that's watched you talking, I think you can kind of like put a human side to it. Like, all right, here's a person talking about her company. So, I mean, I think you've put a lot into it. And if you want to just explain what you do again and the company, how did they get a hold of you? And I'm going to put some of the information too on the link.
Great. Yeah. So as I said, 14 years in this space, love recruitment technology and specifically around the marketing side. Websites are the foundation. So over those 14 years, learned a lot of things and saw a lot of opportunities to make it easier for people to manage their brand online, get rid of old clunky technology and make it easy to integrate and easy to edit. So we do.
That's what I like.
So here we are with something amazing that can easily help our clients be more successful online, and always here to help people that have questions to manage their brand and be more successful. And they can get a hold of me on LinkedIn, Nicole Clarke, and also at our website, www.shazami.com.
All right. One last question. I don't believe I asked who made the name Shazami? What made you think Shazami? Did you hear that one? Oh, there we go. I think I hear you now.
I seem to have lost you, David. I don't know if you're there.
Can you hear me now? No, we can't hear now. I can hear you. So, all right, I'll tell you what. We will be back. We'll be back probably in a couple of weeks, and we're going to do round 2. All right, how's that? All right, so there's Kenny. So we'll be right back. Stay right there.